Spies.
Hello, welcome to my Spies Are Forever video essay. If you're here, you're probably one of 4 people: my professor, someone from my class, my mutuals online, or some rando on the internet. Hi rando, hope you're having a good day. I absolutely love Spies Are Forever, and I was given the opportunity to yap about it, so yap I shall. I would say that I have forced a bunch of people to watch this musical just because I won't stop talking about it, and then they also get unwell about it like I am.
Scars are forever, just like Spies.
No, because Liza?
How do you feel?
I understand why you're obsessed with it. It makes sense for you.
Oh, that's backhanded as which is great because I need more people to be aware of this musical. There is a spoiler warning because I will be talking about everything that goes on in this musical in depth. If you don't feel like being spoiled, there will be a link down below so you can actually go watch the musical, which I highly recommend you do if you haven't watched it already because it's just amazing. And then a content warning as well. I will be talking about violence, death, alcoholism, homophobia, and Nazis. So if any of those will bother you, you can go ahead and click off. I won't be mad. Spies Are Forever follows Agent Kurt Mega, played by Kurt Mega, in 1961 as he returns to the American Secret Service 4 years after his last mission that ended in the untimely death of his MI6 partner, Owen Carver. Kurt now has to navigate the challenges of being a spy alongside dealing with loss, grief, and addiction. Kurt's first mission back did not go successfully. He brings him to the Budapest to intercept an arms deal where we meet the deadliest man alive and Tatiana. Tatiana intercepts the bomb from Kurt and runs off with it, but Kurt was able to get her location and follows her to Monte Carlo. And after a night of gambling and playing blackjack, it is revealed that Tatiana is working with the deadliest man alive and Dr. Baron von Nazi, leading Kurt to be captured and tortured. During the torture, Tatiana has a change of heart and decides to rescue Kurt from the deadliest man alive. Kurt gets shot anyway, and that's Act 1. Act 2 opens at the World Peace Gala in Geneva, where Kurt goes rogue and reveals von Nazi's plan to manipulate the Prince of the New Democratic Republics of Old Socialist Prussian Slavskia. Try saying that 10 times fast. Ending with the prince being killed instead. Tatiana once again saves Kurt, and they go to his safe house, which is actually his mother's house, where they have a heart-to-heart. After that heart-to-heart, Kurt, Tatiana, Barb Larvener, and the informant all get together and get just absolutely wasted, unfortunately. After that, the gang, trademarked, infiltrate von Nazi's plan trying to get control of the Prussian land. The deadliest man alive kills von Nazi and reveals himself to actually be Owen Carver. So Owen was alive after those 4 years. Owen talks about his plans to get control of the Prussian land and talks about this new group called Chimera, where they will turn everyone into a spy. They just wouldn't know it. This, of course, is extremely inhumane and just horrible. So Kurt goes after Owen to try to stop him. And after a long chase and fight scene, Kurt and Owen end up in a Russian weapons facility, much like the one 4 years ago that Owen died in. After a long talk, Kurt shoots Owen, killing him for good. Kurt goes back to the ASS, American Secret Service, to quit being a spy, where it was revealed that Cynthia had technically fired him for going rogue. After being fired, Kurt goes and talks to Barb, telling her about what she'll do on the inside while he's away. Of course, this is just a little goodbye scene for the entire show. Kurt also meets up with Tatiana, giving her and her family passports so they can finally leave and be free. And then there's Spy Dance, which is just a spy dance. I don't know how to describe it. It's Spy Dance. Spies Are Forever. It's a musical. It's about spies. That's Spy Dance. Now, after that explanation is done and over with, I can finally talk about why Spies Are Forever is important. I'm going to try to have this sectioned out into parts, but a lot of my points just ended up overlapping with each other, so deal with it. But what I will be talking about is parody, sexuality, historical aspects, trauma and addiction, and accessibility. Let's get started. Tin Can Bros, founded by Joey Richter, Brian Rosenthal, and Corey Lubowich, is a comedy group that has produced many projects, including web series, short films, and multiple stage shows. Both Brian and Joey are also part of another theater company, Team Star Kid, which has made many musical parodies during its lifetime and has continued to do so. So it's no surprise that two founding members of Tin Can Bros would write a James Bond parody. And I'm not going to lie, it did take me a second to realize that Spies Are Forever was supposed to be a parody of James Bond. But that's on me. I watched it when I was stupid. Even though Spies Are Forever is a Bond parody, it truly makes itself its own piece of media. So much so that I would go as far to say that it has redefined the spy genre. But like all spy movies, you get epic chase scenes, cool gadgets, arms deals, evil villains, with the monologues included, and many more cliches, but they all have their own special Tin Can Bros twist. Agent Kurt Mega, while being one of the world's greatest spies, has his own flaws that make him more relatable and human. He can be impatient, rude, awkward, he gets distracted. I swear he has ADHD. There's a whole song telling him to pay attention. And he's the opposite of the traditional cool, calm, collected, and suave spies that are often shown in the media. Also tying into the parody aspect, Tin Can Bros just kind of throw all of the Bond villains into one show. There's communists, there's Nazis, there's British people. So all the major Bond villains. But the first rival or villain that we run into is communism. Woo! Tatiana is the first rival of the musical, purely because she just intercepted the bomb and is Russian. She's Russian. Even though she is working for our second villain of the show. Nazis. Yay. The first time I ever watched this show, I watched it with my mother, and we were not expecting Nazis. So now I have to give the disclaimer that Dr. Baron von Nazi, played by Brian Rosenthal, is Jewish and he wrote the show. It's very jarring to just be watching and suddenly there's Nazis. And the songs don't help either. The last villain is British. So we have two, technically one, British characters. Piggybacking off of the parody aspect, instead of being a womanizer like Bond, Kurt is gay. And even though it is a parody, the way that his sexuality is written is extremely profound and respectful. It's never a joke within this show, and Kurt's sexuality, it's not his whole character. And it's only brought up like a few times. There's many hints throughout the show of Kurt's sexuality, but they don't make it a big deal. Instead of getting together with the main female character, Tatiana, they become best friends. In Act 1, there's a whole scene where Kurt is trying to get into Tatiana's room to retrieve the bomb, and there's some very heterosexual flirting, although it completely goes over Kurt's head.
To yank.
We are talking about fighting, right?
In Act 2, at Kurt's mother's house, when Kurt and Tatiana are having the heart-to-heart, resulting in doing this, or as I like to call it, compet the song. Doing this essentially is Kurt and Tatiana singing about getting together because they're both spies and a girl/guy. That it's meant to be because of those factors, even though it's clear that they're both uneasy about the whole situation.
I guess we're doing this.
The song ends with Kurt and Tatiana kissing, Tatiana pulling away, and Kurt saying that she's not his type and that he is gay.
You're not my type.
I can tell. So you're into...
Yeah.
Tatiana accepts Kurt and they both decide to just be friends.
I'm happy to have you as my friend.
They have a very wholesome friendship and I love them so much. But now this is where I get to talk about my favorite character. Owen Carver, love of my life. Owen Carver, played by the love of my life Joey Richter, is a British spy from MI6. He is also Kurt's partner, both work and romantic, while technically ex-partner after the events of the Russian affair. While Owen has limited onstage time, his character is extremely important. He's the whole driving force of the show. He's why Kurt left the spy business, why he even came back. He's the whole reason for the show in the first place. When he reveals himself as the deadliest man alive, that's when the second act climax really happens. Owen even brings it up himself like the theater kid he is. During the staircase scene, it's confirmed 100% with no room for argument that Kurt and Owen were together, and that actually goes straight into my next topic. Spies Are Forever takes place during 1961. The United States is in the middle of a Cold War with Russia, and during that time, Executive Order 10450 was passed. Executive Order 10450 contributed to what is known as the Lavender Scare. It's a moral panic about LGBTQ plus people having government jobs. It ran hand in hand with the Red Scare, deeming gay people as communists and national security threats. With Kurt being very involved within the government, his sexuality being found out by anyone would mean certain termination. His relationship with Owen, a spy from another country, being found out would be disastrous. Both of them could be tried for treason and probably many other things. The fact that Kurt even admitted to Tatiana that he's gay and her accepting him is very profound. They're literally the Lavender Scare and the Red Scare personified. The fact that Kurt isn't able to be open about his sexuality leads to some interesting relationship arcs, specifically his relationship with Barb Larvener. Barb is this amazing scientist and an actual genius, but she's obsessed with Kurt and his opinion of her. Like, girl, stand up. Girl, stand up. You have a whole song about you needing to stand up. Please stand up. Kurt has stated multiple times that he will never get with Barb.
Barb, I could kiss you, but I won't. Ever.
But he's unable to specify the exact reason why because of the executive order. Kurt is also unable to come out to his mother, and Mama Mega, love of my life, becomes extremely excited when Kurt brings home Tatiana and quite literally starts planning their wedding.
While you're saving the world, who do you think will be planning your wedding?
She even drops hints about Kurt being gay, but she just hasn't connected the dots herself.
And it kills me that he never brings any girls home to meet me. Just a constant parade of drinking buddies for poker or wrestling or whatever you boys do in the rumpus room.
And I personally believe that Mama Mega would be supportive, but it's understandable given the time period on why Kurt wouldn't want to come out to her. And then, my queen, Cynthia Houston. She's the head of the American Secret Service, which isn't technically historically accurate because the acronym is ASS. They had to make a joke somewhere. But this is also a fictional little branch. Cynthia is the definition of a girl boss. She fought her way up to the top and makes sure that everyone knows that she's not to be messed with. She poisons Kurt.
You poisoned me!
Oh, get over it. I've been poisoning myself a little bit every day since 1939.
She shoots him.
Oh, and Kurt...
Yes. No! Oh! God!
Bulletproof vest. Good, you're learning.
Do not mess with her. Cynthia also has a sense of humor. She makes jokes with both JFK and Nixon. But they're both about the other. It just adds a little bit of spice to her character. She makes fun of the leaders of the government and has no consequences because she's just that good.
Here's something that might cheer you up. I call this one JFK. Ah, yeah, Boston Red Sox, clam chowder. You like that one? Yeah, I'm pretty good with impressions.
And it definitely makes sense on why Kurt couldn't come out to Cynthia, even though I'm pretty sure she knew. Because after Kurt killed Owen again, she goes, "I'm sorry to hear about Owen. I know you two were close." So I think she knows. I think she knows. While Spies Are Forever is set in the past, it was written in the present. So there's aspects of the show that tie in with the current times, unfortunately.
The father of rockets was a Nazi too!
One thing that is relevant now as it was then is trauma and addiction. In the show, Agent Kurt Mega struggles with alcoholism. In the first scene, he's shown drinking while on a mission, and you can tell that this is a common occurrence due to Owen making a remark and Kurt mocking him.
Handle it.
Oh, Kurt, no, not until we're out of here.
No, not until the job's done.
After Owen's death, which definitely traumatized Kurt, he quit being a spy and, according to Cynthia, drank himself to rock bottom. Which brings me to Spy Again. Spy Again takes place 4 years after the Russian affair. It's the song where Kurt talks about his struggle with alcoholism and how he used it to cope with Owen's death and how he feels like a failure for letting Owen die. This song is one of the most important songs in the musical. It's Kurt's I Want song. He wants to get over his past. He wants to move on from Owen. He wants to get over his drinking problem. He wants to be a spy again. In the beginning of the song, he states that he wouldn't ever be a spy again because of what happened during the Russian affair. The memories of what happened always seem to be haunting Kurt, so he drinks to forget everything that he regrets. He goes from, I can't be a spy again, to maybe I could be a spy again, and after thinking about Owen and what Owen would want for him,
Put this drink down, turn my life around.
he finally turns to, I can be a spy again, and it
Doesn't even matter if I killed my best friend.
because he knows that Owen would want him to go back to being a spy.
Owen would want me to do this, so I know that I'll get through it.
And the first step of action for him being a spy was to sober him up. Kurt stays sober for the entire show up until one more shot, which he gets absolutely wasted. I have many thoughts about that. I hate it. Actually, side tangent. You can see in the beginning of One More Shot that Kurt stares at the shot before he inevitably takes it. He was hesitant. I get the point of it being a way to show that he's over the past and he can let himself enjoy himself again. But if you have a recovering alcoholic as the main character, maybe letting him get absolutely sloshed before a big mission, it's probably not the best idea. He was doing so well in his recovery too. I personally think that Kurt relapsing, because it was a relapse, is a major plot fail, especially because they just try to write it off at the end. It makes me mad! Okay, side tangent over, back to the trauma. Kurt is extremely traumatized by Owen's death. He blames himself for the mission going wrong, and I can't lie, if my partner slipped on a banana peel that I threw on the ground and fell to his death, I would blame myself too. But throughout the show, Kurt has to deal with his trauma multiple times, including hallucinations of Owen that make him freeze up. The first hallucination happens during the casino scene. Where Kurt is obviously shaken for a few moments before snapping back into his spy persona. And also, the way the hallucinations are done is so clever and it's just beautiful. The music gives me chills every single time. It's some of my favorite parts of the show. The second hallucination is during Torture Tango and is actually triggered by Tatiana herself. But it was completely on accident. She holds her arm out in the same way Owen used to while she's trying to rescue Kurt, but he freezes up, resulting in him getting shot by the deadliest man alive.
Come on, Kurt, let's get going.
Owen?
Spies are
Okay, side note. This post by Smithereens proposes the idea and time frame that the hallucinations Kurt experiences are due to alcohol withdrawal. And it makes sense because he's being sobered up cold turkey. He's bound to be in withdrawal. But that post makes me so ill. And also the fact that there's only 8 people in the original cast, so Joey has to play multiple characters. It makes me giggle a little bit because I like to think that Kurt is seeing Owen and all of these people, and it's just like a constant little reminder of Owen everywhere he goes. Which, it's sad, but I like the sad. But right after Kurt seems to be able to move on from the past, one more shot, it comes back and slaps him right in the face. Owen Carver himself comes back from the dead. He forces Kurt to deal with his trauma and forces him to move on, whether he was ready or not. But Owen coming back and being evil does make the line, Owen would want me to do this, hurt so much more because the Owen that was still alive wanted Kurt to come back so he could get revenge. But the Owen that died in the compound would have wanted Kurt to go back to be a better version of himself. At the end of the show, Kurt and Tatiana meet up, where Tatiana offers Kurt some supportive words.
It's no easy task burying your ex-lover returned from the grave to kill you. I think you don't need to hide behind a beard to make you look cool.
And even though I hate it, Kurt says himself that he can have a drink every once in a while, as long as it's a responsible pour. Which shows character growth because it shows he doesn't need to drink himself to death to get over Owen, because he's over Owen. Even though he has whiskey in his coffee at 9 a.m. and then tells himself to stalk the bar. Sure, Kurt, sure. But I've already stated my opinion on that, so I'll move on. But having the main character of a spy anything be outright traumatized and work through and talk about their trauma is just very profound. Typically in spy movies, nothing affects the main character. They're effectively a robot with witty remarks, a typical macho man. Agent Kurt Mega feels more real, like a human, and he shows what can actually happen in the field. Agents get traumatized. Not all of them make it. Talking through that trauma helps. Spies Are Forever is available on YouTube. It's the same website that you're watching this on. YouTube is free and very accessible, even though the ads that they like to put on every single video don't seem to be. My favorite thing about both Tin Can Bros and Team Star Kid is that they upload their projects to YouTube, allowing for a wider audience to engage with their content. Both companies do have a period of time before they release their projects on YouTube where you can purchase a digital ticket to watch the show. So they are able to make some more money before releasing it to the masses. But even allowing a digital ticket to be purchased is more accessible than other theater spheres. Broadway is basically inaccessible unless you live in or near New York City, and if you have the funds to spend on Broadway tickets as well. I'm from the Midwest, where I'm lucky if a tour decides to stop anywhere nearby, and if they do, there's multiple hours of travel time to even get to the venue. There's basically no way to watch Broadway shows without either spending hundreds of dollars or watching bootlegs, which are technically illegal. Tin Can Bros and Team Star Kid release professionally recorded and edited versions of their projects, and they rely heavily on their fan base to spread the content around. The fan base grows every single day and has gotten exponentially bigger since a lot of the audios from the shows have blown up on social media websites like TikTok. That's why a lot of younger theater enjoyers really do enjoy Tin Can Bros and Team Star Kid, because they don't have to beg their parents for money to go watch a show. They can just pull it up on YouTube. It's extremely accessible. I hope more theaters and Broadway as a whole follow in the footsteps of these two companies, not even just releasing a pro shot on YouTube, but at least offering a digital ticket that can be purchased. Well, this is the end of my video essay. Thank you for watching. I hope you understand how much I love Spies Are Forever. And I honestly could talk more about how much this show just means to me, but I've already held you hostage long enough. But if you would like to see more, just let me know. You can go ahead and like and subscribe because there might be more in the future. I might pull an Owen Carver and disappear for 4 years before coming back. Okay, bye!